Hello there guys, hope you're all well. Today, we're actually with Ryanair. And we're going to be doing Dublin to Gatwick with Ryanair 118. Unfortunately, we don't have Dublin scenery that's currently compatible with P3D 4.2. However, we have got some real-world traffic. We are hounded with Ryanair planes. We're going to go ahead and open some doors for GSX to start the catering. The parking brake is already set, so that's all fine. We're going to be taking today a total of £11,823 of fuel, which you could see there is already entered in. And this is probably going to be one of the last videos I do in the 737 for a while. I really am hoping that the Aerosoft Airbus becomes available at some point soon for 4.2, but unfortunately, as we all know, it's not yet available. So, nevertheless, we will go ahead and arm the emergency lights, switch on the chime and the seatbelt signs. Pressurization today is going to be flight level 370. We can align the IRSs and request clearance.
Ryanair 8558, read back correct, contact ground control on 120,
Just waiting for the Ryanair before us to actually finish their transmission before we go ahead and receive our confirmation that we're cleared. We can expect to depart from runway 10 today, and we are just literally waiting for our clearance now from ATC. Should be any time soon. Here we go. Runway 10. Runway heading is 100. 7,000 in the initial altitude. Sorted. Now, for those of you who've been wondering about the live streams that I spoke about a few videos back, I'm hoping at the end of this month, or towards the end of this month, like the 28th or something, to do either a flight or maybe some plane spotting or something like that. I'll set the event up on YouTube and it should inform everybody, but anyway, we've got a company route set up today. I don't know whether Ryanair uses company routes, but there we go. RYR118 is going to be our flight number. Activate and execute. And we can go ahead and work out the zero fuel weight 121.8. Close the doors for GSX. And request some boarding. Now, the reserves for today are going to be 2.8. And the cost index for Ryanair is 6, I believe. 370 is going to be the cruise altitude. And we're going to use a 24 kd rate, which I always use, with flaps 5. And we can bring up active sky just to get the wind information. So current active weather, 080 at 13 knots. Stick that in there. That gives us our V speeds. V2 is 143. So we can go ahead and put that into the MCP. 143, there we go. VORs, traffic, data, flight director, and all the regular stuff on the other side as well. So you can expect that around the 28th of March, or possibly the beginning of April is going to be the start of some live streams. Should be pretty interesting for me. They'll be over here on YouTube, they won't be on Twitch straight away. I'll be doing YouTube streams to begin with, and then we'll move on to onto Twitch a little bit later on. So today we're going to be using the Dexa 2 Echo departure by the looks of it, which is there. We're not going to program in the arrival, even though we've been given the Willow 3 Bravo star for runway 08 right over at Gatwick. Yaw damper, that's something I forgot last time, so we've switched that on. And the window heat switches as well. And now it's just a case of arming LNAV and VNAV, clearing the warnings, waiting for people to board. And while we're doing that, I'm going to use the memory device just to put the flight number 118 into the little doohickey there so that I don't forget what flight number we are. Put some radius rings round at 50 miles. 100 miles, and 150 miles. Just so we know where we are in reference to Gatwick when we get over there, if there's bad visibility, which we are expecting some pretty bad weather. It's quite fogged in over there. This is going to be the route, so I'm just going to very quickly go through it. If we zoom in a little bit, actually. Runway 10 is going to be our departure, and this is basically going to be the route all the way up until we plan our descent. See, top of descent was just there. And as we come down into Gatwick, that's where it stops. At, is it Kidley, by the looks of it? The waypoint. The flight today is probably not going to be taking any longer than about an hour and a half. That was the estimated time over from FlightAware, so hopefully we'll stick to that. Power's been transferred from the APU. Might as well turn a little bit of lighting on in the cockpit because it's going to get quite dark and gloomy very, very soon. So I'm just going to switch the lights on halfway just to light up the buttons and figures and stuff like that for extra visibility. It's probably not necessary, but there we go. And if we look outside, we can see the baggage has been put onto the plane. Look at all the planes that we've got around us. We're obviously Ryanair. And it looks like everybody else is as well. Or like Aer Lingus, I think it is. But nevertheless, I will catch up with you guys once the passengers are all on. It shouldn't take too long, and I'll see you in a bit. Right, okay. Passengers are on. GSX is asking us to go ahead and close some doors, which we'll do now. The air stair can go away. You'll have to excuse me, by the way, I have got a terrible voice today, so if there's any coughing and spluttering, that's why. So the second FMC is on the legs page, and as always we'll have the takeoff ref page on the first FMC. We've got the engine page open as well for when we start the engines. I'm expecting some icing conditions, so we might have to wait. We're just going to request pushback and startup now.
Ryanair 118, startup and pushback approved. Approved. Ryanair 118.
Hydraulics can come on. Anti-collision light on as well. And we can request pushback and departure. I'm going to request the de-icing treatment. We probably will still end up being asked not to start the engines until after pushback is completed, but that's fine. That's no problem at all. Here come the de-icing trucks. I wasn't expecting it to be that quick. I am using a different setup in terms of my in-sim settings now for 4.2. I'll have to make like a video or something explaining the changes. Either that or I can just update the copy of the config file which is in the description as well. But again, don't just copy and paste things because it can quite easily break your sim. Nevertheless, here comes some generic speech that I'm going to have to replace at some point.
Confirm aircraft is ready for treatment.
Again, I've no idea what we're going to use, so we're just going to literally use fluid type 1.
Now and observe fluid type 1. I will call you back when ready.
Fantastic, so now his crane's going to lift him up and he's going to de-ice the wings for us. I don't know whether it's entirely necessary to do this. I think it's like 6 degrees, but GSX did ask us whether we wanted it or not, so I'm pretty sure it's not going to do any harm. In the meantime, I'd like to talk about a new website which I've got now, which is linked in the description as well. If you like my videos and you want to follow me on a website and see screenshots and stuff like that, if you want support, advice, things like that, you can go ahead and click on the link in the description for the website. And there's links on there if you want to donate, if you want to become a patron, if you want to see the add-ons that I use, the hardware that I use, stuff like that. It's all in the description. It's only like a free website. I've not gone to the extent of actually creating a proper domain or anything. It's just a shabby quickly put together website where you can get all the information that's commonly asked of me in the comments section. And he seems to be completed now. Got a plane taking off. Just over the top of the building there. There we go. Good day. Right, we'll switch on some window wipers. It is raining after all. Back to the stream. I have no idea how it's going to work, by the way. I don't have a webcam at the moment. I do obviously have this microphone, and I've got a little scene set up on OBS, so it's got like a donate logo, so you know where to donate. I've got the chat box and stuff like that on a separate page. I have no idea how it's going to work. It's probably going to be thrown together, but there we go. You can see we've been asked not to start the engines, which is a bit of a hindrance, but nevertheless I'm sure we'll survive. I'm in a good mind to just start the engines anyway, but I don't know, I can't be bothered. Remove the wheel chocks, we need to do that in a second. I'm just checking all the lights on. We've got every single light going, switched on at the moment, because of the low visibility. Remove ground connections. Back onto the takeoff ref page now. I mean, the conditions down here at Dublin are not that bad, but as we get up into the air, it will be. So I've just decided to switch on the lights, just to make people aware of where we are. We've got quite a bit of traffic around us, so it seemed like the appropriate thing to do. Might as well switch on TA and RA on the transponder and give it a test. Bypass pin inserted, and you can release the parking brake now. Release the parking brakes. And push is going to start any minute. TCAS has passed, that's all good. So back to the stream. I don't know how I'm going to set it up. I think you can set like an event up on YouTube, on the stream, on like the Go Live section, so that it lets your subscribers know. But I'm not sure, so closer to the time, I will probably make a video about it just to let everybody know. The time it's going to start will be in UK time. You'll have to convert that to whatever time, wherever you are in the world. But I'll try and sort it out so that it's not sort of last minute. But I'm really looking forward to it. As I said, I did say that I was going to try starting some streams and stuff. Hopefully once we get started with these streams, we'll be able to take it over to Twitch as well. So people on YouTube and Twitch will both be able to see some videos and stuff. That should be pretty cool. Nevertheless, what the hell's that other Ryanair doing? They don't actually get pushed back with Ultimate Traffic Live. They just seem to like go back a little bit and then like do a 180, which is a bit strange. I think it's like I don't know whether it's obviously not a bug. It's just like the dynamics of the program. Hopefully that'll get sorted out. But as you can see, we are chock-a-block here with Ryanair 737s. While we are getting pushed back, again, I'll just repeat some of the information about the flight. So today we are RYR118 with Ryanair. We've just departed from Gate 6. And we're going to be travelling approximately at 296 nautical miles, covering about an hour and 30 minutes, all the way over to London Gatwick. From here at Dublin, we're going to be taking off from runway 10. And, yeah, so that's it. Basically, that's all the information I have for you. That's the main bits. Just set the parking brakes there. And we can finally start the engines. Look at all those planes. Just going to wait for things to start up now. I do apologise about this video being a little bit later than expected, by the way. I've had quite a few things going on in the past sort of few days, so I've not managed to make a video sooner than this. Okay, ground to cockpit, we are disconnected. The bypass pin has been removed. Okay, so we might as well start engine number 1 in a minute. Marshall is walking away. can see we are very, very cloudy. That was engine number 2, so we can start engine number 1. Left and right engines, clear. I have got some new cockpit textures for the PMDG 737-800. If you haven't noticed, they're a little bit cleaner. And I just like the way that they look, to be honest. Engine number 1 now. So that's 5 Ryanair 737s to our left. And we've also got some that are around the airport taxiing. And we've got some other aircraft to our right. Right, okay. So, just waiting for the engine to start up fully now, and then we can move on. There we go. Continuous with the engines. Runway turn off and taxi lights are on. The probe heats have just gone on. We can transfer the power. Left and right packs, APU bleed off, and APU self off. And that, essentially, is it, apart from the flaps and the trim, which I'll do now. And if we look on our wing, I just travel a bit down here. This is the only thing with having, like, different views. I need to add more views to it, so I don't have to keep panning all the way down here. But nevertheless, there we have the flaps being extended. Which means we should be off the ground anytime soon, hopefully. See that Ryanair in front of us is just taxiing to the runway himself.
Ground Ryanair 338, request taxi. Ryanair.
And I was going to request taxi, but somebody else has beat me to it.
Alpha Tango 7 to gate 6.
Via Bravo 5 Alpha Tango 7 to gate 6 Ryanair 338.
Ground Ryanair 118, request taxi. Ryanair 118. Taxi 5 Alpha Tango 7 Charlie Romeo Bravo 7 to runway 10.
Right, Alpha Tango 7 Charlie Romeo Bravo 7 to runway 10. Ryanair.
Okay, there we go. So we can finally begin our taxi to the runway.
Request startup and pushback.
Speedbird 837. Startup and pushback approved.
Roger.
So anyways, I will catch up with you guys in just a second when we are finally ready to line up.
Roger. Speedbird 837.
Possibly going a little bit fast, but we're here. You can see there's another Ryanair just getting ready to line up on the runway there. So we will stop just behind him. I think we're waiting for an aircraft to come in, actually. He's about to line up.
Line up runway 10.
Line up and wait, runway 10, Ryanair 3104.
So we'll just stop at the threshold line here. And tell the tower whereabouts we are. Parking brake set.
Ryanair 3104, wind 080 at 13, runway 10.
We might as well sort the lights out now.
Clear for takeoff, runway 10, Ryanair 3104.
He's just been cleared.
Tower, Ryanair 118, holding short off runway 10, request departure. Ryanair 118, hold your position. Holding our position. Ryanair.
Right, so we're going to hold our position. So chances are he's going to take off, and then either we're going to be able to go straight after him, or there's probably going to be another aircraft coming in. I can't see any aircraft at the moment. At least not on little nav map, but that could change. And it looks as if by zooming in, I've actually caused a frame rate drop or some sort of weird jittery effect. So let's zoom out.
Ryanair 118, line up runway 10.
Oh, there we go.
Runway 10.
So there are no other aircraft coming in to land right now. Well, there probably is, but they're on like a long final. So we can get ourselves onto the runway now. Right behind another Ryanair 737. Don't know why the lights for the runway there just randomly disappeared. It's a bit strange.
Ryanair 118, wind 080 at 13, runway 10, cleared for takeoff. Good flight. Runway 10.
Right, so we've been cleared for takeoff. I would personally have waited a little bit until that aircraft in front has got a little bit further away, but there we go. Nevertheless, Here we go. Got a British Airways there to the left. Don't want to pan around and see it, just in case I end up crashing the aircraft on takeoff. Nice and central with the runway. Sort of. Spoke too soon. And rotate. I'm having a little bit of a difficulty. There we go. Nice and gently. Gear up. And into the clouds we go. I'm going to be replacing the clouds as well, by the way. I'm going to be getting the Rex Skyforce at some point soon. Or Skyforce HD, I think it's called. Just to help out, because I think the clouds from Rex 4 are a little bit dated. Well, there we go. We're off the ground. We're on our way. I have indeed forgotten to start the clock, but that will have to wait because it's just... There's no point in starting it now, we're already off the runway. I have got some traffic on the ground, such as lorries and cars and things like that. Probably not the best idea because it will be impacting on frames, but nevertheless, we should be okay. So we can start, in fact we can raise the flaps completely now. Turn-offs can come off and the engines can go back to normal. We don't need the wheel well light because the wheel well is closed. 170 on the altitude now. Still a bit rainy. See what I mean with the clouds, like popping in and stuff? Rex Skyforce HD fixes a lot of problems that are caused by, you know, popping in and stuff, so I'm hoping to get that soon. Hopefully I'll have that by the time I start doing streams, but I don't know. Wipers can come off now, we're above the clouds. And that is all she wrote. That is basically it. We can't see a thing now. Literally completely blind. All we can see is cotton wool. So it's 15:40 at the minute. That's the time that approximately we took off. I'll say 15:39, just to make it a little bit more accurate. But there we go. Nice wing view. And right now we're just waiting for ATC to say that we can climb to our flight level of 370. We're currently climbing to 170. I do like the clouds, don't get me wrong, but they just... I see Rex Skyforce HD from other YouTubers and it just seems a lot better. You can see they're all nice and like wispy and soft and stuff like that, but it's when you move the camera, they tend to move as well. The clouds like move with you, and it's very strange. They wouldn't do that in real life. Coming up on 10,000 feet, there we go. We can switch off the landing lights now. And we can go ahead and switch off every other light that we don't need. And with that, I might as well leave you with some cinematic views on the way to Gatwick. So I will catch up with you guys once we're a little bit closer to landing. Okay guys, so a lot has changed since the last time you saw the sim. We've got a lot darker, as you can see. It looks like I've changed the contrast or something, which I haven't. That's due to the lighting and stuff like that. But basically what's going to happen is we've just gone straight past the localizer. We are currently deploying some speed brakes to slow us down. And essentially what's going to happen is we're going to go in like a loop. Straight past the runway, or straight past the airport, then round into a loop, and then back on ourselves to intercept the localizer and the glide slope and everything. We are using the Willow 3 Bravo approach, and what that basically means is we're going to be landing at 08 right, as was forecast by Pro ATC. On our way here, or before we even set off for that matter. Frames are going to go down the pan because we are in fact in Gatwick, and regardless of the fact that I do have a new setup in terms of my config file and stuff like that, Gatwick is still quite a heavy piece of scenery, especially with all the animations and stuff that I have going on, so and like the ground traffic and the options that I've set up. So I do apologise about any frame loss. RIP frames, as they would say in the flight sim world. But there we go, so we're going to go into this loop, and then we'll basically come back on ourselves and be vectored into to capturing the localizer. So, I'll catch up with you guys once we actually do that, because we're going to be descending and sort of vectoring ourselves out for quite some time, so I'll see you in just a sec. Right, okay. So as you can see, well you can't see, but somewhere over there is the runway. And if you see on the EFIS there, to the right of the PFD, we can see that basically we've come back on ourselves now. We should anytime soon be vectored out by ATC. We are going to have a few issues in terms of the aircraft nose pitching up, I can guarantee that. We do have some flaps deployed at the moment, and we are continuing to deploy the flaps, and we're having to do that rather early because in a moment ATC is going to say to slow down to our approach speed, which is around 140 knots. So there's a wing view. Get ready for it because the nose is going to pitch up and there's nothing I can do about it.
Ryanair 118, slow to final approach speed.
Here we go. Final approach speed. So we've been commanded to do that basically, so there's not much I can do about that. Basically we've just got to sit here and wait for the next command to turn from ATC, which will be to the right, hopefully to intercept the ILS. I'm not sure, to be honest, based on the weathering conditions, whether or not I'm going to have to do a full auto land because we've got very, very limited visibility down to about 500 or 400 feet. If I can see the runway clearly at some point, then I will disconnect and we can take it manually, but it's looking at the moment like it might well have to be the first ever full auto land that I've had to do on this channel. And there's the gear warning. I need to drop the gear. I've had to put the flaps down very, very early because of the fact that the nose is just pitching up and up and up, and we obviously don't want to lose speed at a dangerous rate or anything like that. Probably doesn't help by the fact that the altitude that we're supposed to be at is 3,000, and because I reset the baro, which I normally do anyway, just to be accurate, we're actually slightly below what we should be, which is probably the reason why the nose is raised up. You can see it's dropping down a tiny bit now that the altitude's gone to exactly 3,000. I'm hoping... Here we go.
Right turn to heading 065.
065. This is going to be a very close shave. We're basically going... basically doing a 180. Or it might as well be. Nevertheless, bad weathering conditions, you can see, we can only just see the surface there on the bottom of the screen. And we are at 3,000 feet. The localizer's coming in a bit too fast, so what I reckon is it's not going to stop in the centre. We're not going to have time to intercept it just like that. We're going to have to make a slight turn to the left in a second. Approach hold is activated. Yeah, it's going to the right hand side of the PFD, so we've slightly overshot it. We are going a little bit over the speed that we need to be going. We need to be about 140. You can see the nose is still pitching up. You can see a little bit of the ground now. You can see trees and stuff like that. That is not the runway that we're going to be landing at, by the way, on the left. Just down there. That is a different airport. The localizer is slowly making its way in, so we should be okay. Again, we've heard absolutely nothing or seen anything at all from the glide slope as of yet. We are at flaps 25, so we've just got to slow down to the final approach speed now. Localizer is coming. It is moving. It is coming in slowly. The glide slope should actually be coming in shortly as well. We should see that any second. Turn off the wipers a minute. And we should be contacting it. There we go. There we go. You can see the glide slope diamond is now fully pink. And it's beginning, or purple, or whatever you want to call it. And it's beginning to come in.
1887. Contact tower on 124.22. 124.22. Ryanair 1887.
Thought that was us then. It's a completely different Ryanair. Glide slope's coming in. We're looking alright. Apologies about any stutter or lag. Not much I can do about it.
Tower, Ryanair 118.
Here we go.
Request landing. Runway 08 right.
Ryanair 118. Clear to land on runway 08 right. Slow to final approach speed. QNH 9er 7.
Clear to land. Runway 08 right. Final approach speed. Ryanair 118.
Brilliant. So we've been cleared to land. Ideally, I would have put the gear out once we've been cleared to land, but it didn't really work out like that. And you can see that we are now beginning to fully capture the ILS. Localizer and glide slope are looking nice. Coming out of 3,000 feet now, and I still can't see anything. And even if I could see the runway lights, I would probably rather see the runway as well. So I'll wait until I've got a good visual before I go ahead and disconnect the autopilot. As you can see, we're fully established. Flaps are down 25. Got the gear down, 3 greens. Engines are on continuous. The speed brakes are armed. Can only just see the ground. Everything's sorted as it should be. Auto brake 2. Coming up on 2,000 feet now, still cannot see a thing. And the rain appears to be battering the aircraft again. My eyes are terrible as it is, but yeah, it's just, I can't see anything. Coming up on 1,500 shortly. I don't know whether the runway's even there. I can't see it. Wing view, you can see stuff on the wing view, you can see the rain and stuff. I might have to turn on the wipers again, actually. Coming up on 1,000 feet, still can't see anything. Not looking good at all for a manual landing. If it does become available, I certainly will go ahead and take control, but I can see something in the distance. It's not quite clear enough for me though. "400 feet, and we are only just beginning to see things properly. I think this is sort of safe now, so I'm just going to go ahead and disconnect. There we go. The aircraft is mine. Wish me luck. We've got some aircraft just holding short of the runway. Continuing, we are going to be below the glide slope and we're going to get a warning, but I've got a funny feeling we might float. Yeah, we're going to do a bit of a float. And there we go, we are down. Left gear touched first, and that was not a very good landing. Nevertheless, reverses. Deceleration. Look at the fog on the runway.
Ryanair 118.
Manual braking now, of course. And we'll take this rapid exit to the left. And see if we can make our way to the gate. Got an EasyJet over there, just to the left. That wasn't too bad. I mean, considering the visibility, I think I did pretty well. So we'll start the APU and switch the engines to continuous. Taxi lights on and landing lights off. Strobe lights to steady. And logo light and every other light can come on as well because of the visibility. And I think we'll stop here at the threshold, announce that we're clear of the runway, do a little bit of clean-up, and then we can work on getting our way to the gate.
Ryanair 118 is cleared of the runway. Request taxi to parking.
Ryanair 118, taxi via Delta, Quebec, Kilo, Papa, to Terminal 1, Gate Lima, 140.
Via Delta, Quebec, Kilo, Papa, to Terminal 1, Gate Lima, 140. Ryanair 118.
Right, so, gate 140. I think that's a large gate, actually. I don't know why they've told us to go there. It is actually a heavy gate, yeah. I don't know why that's the gate that we need to go to, but anyway. Don't need to follow me, I don't think. And we're going to have to use Virgin Atlantic because that's a GSX default and we don't have Ryanair for some daft reason. Nevertheless, let's make our way to the gate. See if we can get there in one piece without any aircraft getting in our way. Alright, so it turned out we did indeed need a follow me. I have no idea why, but I just couldn't find where I was looking for. Little nav map was not helping, so I decided to just get a follow me, but there we go. Pulling into the gate now. We will need to switch off the lights and everything so we don't blind people. But essentially that's it. So we're at a large gate, which is very unusual, and the marshaller appears to be to the right of where the taxi line is telling me to go. So I'm going to just do what I think I should do, which is stay in the right place. And there we go. Parking brake set. Fuel cut-offs. And we can switch off the seatbelt signs now. transfer the power, even though I'm going to connect ground power in a second. Hydraulics can come off. Fuel pumps can go off. We can open some doors and stuff like that in a moment. Just got to set all the ground power before we get shouted at. There we go. Window heat switches, I think you're supposed to leave those on. The probe heat I know you're supposed to turn off, but... Anyway, we've made it onto the ground. Terrible weather. A challenging approach. But here we are. Hope you enjoyed the video, guys. Thank you very much for watching. Again, 28th of March, or maybe a little bit later into April, or like the beginning of April, I'll be doing some live streams. Thanks for watching, guys, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye for now.